Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I am Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we're here for...
Harry Potter. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, chapters 35 and 36. And exactly how many chapters are in this book?
I think there's 38.
Oh, there are 38.
Not that I've counted.
So it looks like we're rounding this out. We're going to be done with Harry Potter in June. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Do you want me to just dive right in before you have your thoughts? You always look so pissed off when we start this. It makes me feel good. Chapter 35, Beyond...
It makes me feel good.
Chapter 35, Beyond the Veil. Lucius Malfoy and the Death Eaters confront Harry and company in the Department of Mysteries. We find out that it's Lucius who is talking. It is revealed that Harry has retrieved a prophecy. So we're getting into prophecy now. And there's a great wizard showdown duel. And Sirius takes one to the chest and dies. Drifts off into obscurity.
Okay.
Harry Potter, poor man.
Okay.
36, the only one he ever feared. Dumbledore shows up, as is normal, saves the day, fights the bad guy. Interesting scene, Harry attacks Bellatrix Lestrange with the Cruciatus Curse, excuse me. I think there's some stuff to talk about there. And basically, as the smoke cleared, Dumbledore sits down and he's like, you know what? No, I'm taking my job back. We're fine. It's over. We're good. Moving on. Adrian.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Well, Sirius isn't dead.
Okay.
Lupin said he's dead and then got cut off.
Okay.
And as terrible and awful and racist and sexist and misogynist and poor and poorly thought out a writer as J.K. Rowling is, I can't believe that she would waste a death scene in such throwaway fashion.
Okay.
So Sirius is not dead.
Okay. And if he is dead...
It's going to be another one of these things where, oh, silly Harry Potter, you want to know the whole story, don't you? Which is, what was that movie? The Last Jedi.
All right.
It's the same thing as with Flyboy, right? You want to know the whole story, but you're not sophisticated enough for the whole story.
Okay.
Right?
It is an interesting scene with Sirius because there...
Is it?
It is.
Is it?
There is no audible curse said. He does get shot in the chest by something, and then he just kind of drifts off into a veil. Yeah. And just like the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And it is presumed he's dead.
It is presumed by Harry Potter he's dead.
Okay.
No one else seems to raise much of a ruckus either, so it's pretty obvious he's not dead.
But in times of war, okay? And this would be considered a war here. This is a great battle.
But this is drama.
But in battle, your buddy gets shot, he gets shot. You can't focus, you can't worry at the time.
Right, but in drama, you always focus and you always worry in real time.
Okay. So, Sirius is not dead. This is Adrian's statement as of right now.
Yeah, Sirius is alive. He'll probably come back halfway through the next book or something. It's not going to be immediate.
Okay.
We're going to be left to revel in his death. Now, conveniently, Harry Potter will not say anything to an adult because he is so filled with shame and regret, but he will talk to Ron and Hermione about it.
Okay. Lucius Malfoy and the Death Eaters are obviously in the Department of Mysteries. They're the ones who lured Harry there. This was all a big, elaborate ruse.
I wonder if they're called the Department of Miseries.
Ooh, Department of Miseries. However, it is established that the orb, the sphere, whatever Harry has, is a prophecy.
It's making me uncomfortable with your hand. Yeah.
Okay. It is a prophecy. I don't know why that helps.
That's no better.
It is a prophecy.
It is a prophecy.
And, we start talking about literature, especially fantasy literature. Prophecies are a thing. It's been hinted around before. But this is a physical... I can't stop! Any thoughts on prophecy?
What do you mean a physical?
The sphere. It is a tangible thing, prophecy.
That is strange to me. That is strange. And I wonder why... Did Voldemort said he didn't really need it, didn't he? Or did he... Because I got... Maybe this is something I'm putting in there because...
So the prophecy can only be retrieved by the one of which whom it is about. Okay? So they needed Harry Potter to retrieve the prophecy, and now that they have
Was that stated?
It was, yes.
Okay.
However, it's said that it's shattered, And Voldemort moves on, essentially saying, you know, what's done is done. But it was never really said that he's like, well, we didn't need it.
Okay.
He did mention that this was a large, thought-out plan. This was a great execution, and it's kind of cheesy. But he's like, and you let me down again, and Harry Potter has thwarted us again.
Yeah.
But
what do you mean, kind of cheesy?
Do you want me to take the kind of out?
Yeah.
Okay, it is cheesy.
Okay.
Yeah, thwarted again, Harry. How dare you?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for you meddling kids and that dog.
Precisely. You're
You're
coming around, Salty.
okay, so you don't care about Sirius dying.
It's not dead.
You don't care about the prophecy.
I don't care about Sirius floating off.
Okay, you don't care about the battle scene, anything like that.
I do. Okay, so there's two things in here that I think one surfaced during the last reading, but seeing it side by side with the prophecies, it makes it more. The vat of brains
Okay.
and the prophecies. Those are things. I don't know what the brains are doing. It's not told to us yet, is it?
No, in the next chapter, Ron gets hit by some weird spell that just basically makes him a dumbass.
No, that's in here.
Yeah, in
okay,
chapter 36,
okay,
and we were still on 35. And at one point, he tries to call the brains, and they fly towards him, and it's a bad deal. But
Right.
that's really all that's been mentioned so far.
I think that is if you were to get into Harry Potter lore. If J.K. Rowling were to do what I would do if I were J.K. Rowling and got rich off malarkey like this, I'd just start licensing stuff off like George Lucas did.
Okay.
Hey, you want to write a book about the bounty hunters? I want 40%. You know what I mean? The prophecies. What's the story there? What's one of the prophecies there?
Okay.
The brains. What are the brains doing there? Who are they from? Here's the story of how one got there. Okay. I'd just start licensing that stuff off and making buku bucks.
Fair. We are going to get into a little more about
Until
prophecy.
I sold to Disney for $4 billion.
I saw this lovely image. It's just scatterbrained at this point, but like of a dried up milk cow, and Mickey Mouse is walking towards it, and the cow just has a Star Wars logo around its neck.
That's true. That's the sad part. Star Wars will never be milked.
Okay.
They're just on a string of making bland to bad movies.
Okay. Anyway, we are going to get into a little bit more about prophecies, about this specific prophecy, and we're going to learn more about these things. So that's great. Now, I have been checking the comments on the Harry Potter section, so if you do have a comment or a question for Adrian, please leave it down below. I try to make sure that I check those so Adrian doesn't see them, so if you have any spoilers,
yeah, so
by all means.
In Dalton, I hate to get into this 8 minutes into the video, but in Dalton's absence, I was saying, leave my name at the beginning of your comment because I'm an egomaniac, but it'll help me know that there's no spoilers in there. But now, it's a free-for-all. I don't look at the comments. I don't look at the comments of the Harry Potter videos at all. So anything you want to talk about down there, go ahead, leave questions, comments, concerns. Dalton will most likely ignore them, and we'll just carry on with the show.
Something that has come up quite a bit, people want to know Bellatrix Lestrange. You were just really introduced to this character, Bellatrix, recently. We get to see her in action a little bit. She does technically kill Sirius. How are you feeling about Bellatrix?
I don't know much at the point. It is interesting to me. There is an interesting dynamic with Sirius being cousins, right? So that could be interesting in the hands of a stronger writer, but we're not there.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay. This is a female villain.
Does she carry on?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to get some more from her.
Spoilers, Dalton. She doesn't die?
She doesn't die. We are going to get some more from Bellatrix, and people are really interested just to see your reaction towards her, because it seems like her motif, whereas Umbridge is just evil, whereas Voldemort is just evil, her motif is she is just in love with Voldemort. She just wants to do anything to make him happy. She is his servant. He is her master.
What a strong female character.
I know, right? So, there were some comments like, can we have Adrian talk about Bellatrix? I'm like, do we really want to do that?
Yeah, I haven't. So there was a little bit of that in this chapter, but no more so than any of the other Death Eaters. So if that is something for which she is known, I am interested to see how it grows in the future. I am interested. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
The Death Eaters.
Yes.
Before this, were all of them men? All the ones I know about were men.
Okay. I don't know if it was... that was an exception to things, but I do believe the ones we've been introduced to so far have been men.
They've all been cloaked, so it's hard to tell unless they've been given to us.
It's a very KKK feel, a hooded man.
Right, which, cultural appropriation, JK, you're not in the United States. But one thing that will be interesting to see if it develops there is the male Death Eaters are infatuated with Voldemort because of his power. Would female Death Eaters in this J.K. Rowling pretty sexist world not be infatuated with Voldemort because of his power, but be in love with him because of it? Is it a love-type servants into which Bellatrix... I want to say Bellatrix, I don't know.
Okay.
Bellatrix falls with Voldemort?
It's Bellatrix, but okay, that's an interesting point to bring up. We are going to get to...
So this Bellatrix character.
We're going to get to know her a little bit more. We'll leave it at that for right now. And just to hit another comment, because I did say I'd start mentioning some comments, I want a big sign that just says salty, because it took a month before somebody shot a comment. I'm just like,
What happened?
Somebody would like to bring up that they have read The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, and the centaurs definitely did not rape anybody in that book, so we are wrong. So... just wanted to sling that out there.
The absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Okay.
Absence of rape is not. So the absence of evidence for the fact in one. Okay, so did they carry anyone off in that text?
I haven't read. I've read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. However, I'd just like to point out the fact, and I'm going to hammer it in again. It's in the text in Harry Potter. It's there, and it's coming back. We'll get more from it.
So that is. I didn't expect that they killed her.
Okay.
But it was interesting to me to see that one of the first things that Diddley-Door does when he confronts LaFudge was he said, "You're going to get Dolores Umbridge out of my school."
Yeah. Okay, so since we're talking about Diddley-Door, as you so eloquently put it, Chapter 36. Basically, Dumbledore shows up, has a great battle with Voldemort, and it is kind of a nice thing. You get to see the man in action finally.
I will give credit where credit is due. The action in these scenes is fairly sparse and naked,
okay,
but it's well written.
Okay.
You were able to follow what you were supposed to follow.
Okay.
I think that one of the things that a lot of writers will do is they will try to paint every picture in a scene of war as opposed to the picture with which you are supposed to be.
Okay.
So that was done effectively.
Good.
There was the bone I will pick with that is that nothing else was really going on all the while.
Okay. Just making sure. Those mics scare me. I have to look down every now and then and be like, yes, it's still there.
So the action is well written, but we're not building any more story as we go.
Okay. I do think it's a good thing that we've seen just glimpses of Dumbledore's power. And this is finally the full culmination where we get to see him toe-to-toe with Lord Voldemort, the most powerful dark wizard of all time. And basically, he just deflects him and makes a fool of him. Dumbledore is showing 100% that he is the superior here. And the chapter itself is called The Only One He Ever Feared. He doesn't even refer to Voldemort as Voldemort. He basically says, now, Tom, what are we doing here? There's no need for this.
Okay, so the only one he ever feared, that is in reference to Voldemort fearing Dumbledore?
Yes.
That's upsetting.
Okay.
I was hoping that Voldemort was the only one that Diddledore ever feared.
Now, that is just what I took it as. I don't think it's explicitly said,
there is a moment, the first time we ever hear Dumbledore have a moment of fear is when Harrold Poittier is chasing Moldavort. And that's when he says in a scared fashion something like Harry Potter no. It would be more interesting to me if Diddley-Door was afraid of Moldavort than Moldavort being afraid of Diddledore, because that would do for me, because we have this picture of Diddledore as all powerful.
Okay.
So if Diddledore is all powerful, then him being afraid of Moldavort, despite the fact that he is able to thwart Moldavort, is that it paints a picture that Dumbledore is able to read the potential on Moldy.
Sometimes it is hard to follow what the fuck you're saying in this series. I would like that to be known. I'm going to make a t-shirt that just has, like you have the t-shirts that has all the characters, you know, Harry Potter and Hermione and Ron. I want to make one that just says like Harold Poittier and Moldy Voldy and Diddley-Door. Because, wow. Okay, I think I know what you were trying to talk about there.
I wonder if we could get away with that.
I think you could, and I think we should. Just saying.
I think absolutely we should.
I think we should. Okay, I think a very interesting scene in Chapter 36 is Harry lashes out on Bellatrix and uses one of the unforgivable curses, uses the Cruciatus curse on Bellatrix in an attempt to make her suffer, make her pay for killing Sirius. It does get kind of thwarted off where she says it doesn't work unless you mean it. You got to have that hate in your heart. You got to have that evil.
Yeah.
But I do think it is a good character moment when the ultra good guy, the knight in shining armor, says, you know what, piss on it. I'm angry, and I'm going to hurt this person.
It would be a great character moment if we hadn't already seen our knight in shining armor Hermione lead a woman to her rape. It would be a great moment, great character moment if we hadn't already seen it 2 or 3 times a book through 5 books. These are the moments that you wait for. These are the moments why... Okay, so all the rage these days is comic book movies. These are the moments in comic... So for Iron Man, the Iron Man movie, 2008, was such a revelation because in that movie, the good guy said, to hell with it, I'm going to kill a bunch of people.
Okay.
To that point, the biggest superhero to appear on screen was Batman.
Okay.
Doesn't kill people. After that, you're probably looking at Superman. Definitely didn't kill people. You're looking at the Reeves movies. Definitely didn't kill people. After that, the biggest comic book character. So Spider-Man didn't kill people. Accidentally killed one person, I think, in that original Sam Raimi series. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. It's been a long time since I've seen him. But after that, what you're looking at is Wolverine.
Okay.
Right? So the top 3 are non-killers. Wolverine, definitely a killer. Guess what? He's nerfed for the movies.
Okay.
And Wolverine spends a great deal of all of those movies getting his ass kicked until he snaps, right?
Fair statement.
So the Iron Man movie comes out, and it's Tony Stark. Like, you've got that scene where he gets mad on his couch and decides to go over to the Middle East and just murk people.
Yeah.
You remember that scene?
Everybody needs a hobby.
Right. Where you're seeing through the Iron Man vision and you get a bunch of X's on the terrorists that are holding hostages, and he goes, all right, guys, boom. That was such a revelation because the whole movie was the good guy saying, I'm just going to kill a bunch of people. That happens here as well.
Okay.
We've got good guys who just they talk about morals and standards until push comes to shove, and they don't feel like something is going fairly in their way.
Okay.
And then they come across like this.
Throwing sand in the eyes. You got to do what you got to do. Pushed against the fence.
Sure, but it happens 3 and 4 times a book.
Yes. I do think it is interesting that this is something that is starting to happen with these characters as they are getting older, as they are reaching adulthood, and they're starting to make these moralistic changes here. Because we're going to see some characters start leaning more towards the dark, more characters to the light, and like it's obvious who's going which sides. But to see your character make a decision, it adds a bit to the depth of the character, and it's a necessary add. You have to have a little more depth to Harry Potter right now. So to see him say, you know what, I've snapped, I've reached my limit, and attack Bellatrix, that says a lot. Because the good guys don't use these curses. The good guys deflect, the good guys stun. Set your phasers to stun.
Right.
The bad guys do the killing. So that's really all that we had going on.
In that scene, was Diddley-Door already in the room?
Yes.
So he did this in front of Diddley-Door.
I think he was chasing after Bellatrix at this point.
That's what I thought.
Visibly, probably not.
Yeah, those scenes, everything in those scenes happens very close together, so I couldn't remember off the top of my head.
On a side note, all the characters are injured. Neville takes one to the face. Hermione is hit by a curse. We don't know what's wrong with her yet, but she is unconscious. Ron is just a blithering idiot.
It is interesting to me that the same fate has befallen Hermione and Sirius.
Interesting. Okay.
I wonder if they are on some astral plane together.
Okay.
Is there fan fiction for that?
Oh, there's fan fiction for everything, and it's terrifying.
That's disgusting.
Absolutely. And the last thing that really happens here is the Minister of Magic, Cornelius Fudge, shows up, and Dumbledore basically just saunters out, loads his weapon and says, you know what? Holsters his weapon, excuse me. Says, you know what? I'm in charge around here. Told you. I'm taking my job back. Stop chasing my professors. He's getting his job back. You need to get that Umbridge out of my castle, and we're going home.
Yeah.
So, Dumbledore in power again. And realistically?
Was that a question?
Yeah.
No. Not realistically at all. Especially when you're talking about politics and politicians.
Yes.
So, at this point, what LaFudge would do is say, okay, so Diddley-Dor started all this. Diddley-Dor and Moldavort are in league.
Okay.
Because that's how a politician saves face.
Well, they're in the same room together.
Yeah.
Yes.
It must have happened that way, right?
So weak ending to this chapter.
I very weak ending. I imagine to children, though, that was very fulfilling.
Okay.
Because you've got God back.
Okay.
And he just asserts his powers. He just pulls out the big swinging D, and he lays it on the table, and LaFudge says, "You win, baby."
Never mind. We're done here. Anything else you want to hit here, real quick?
The one thing that is sort of irking me about these chapters is that they do happen so close to the end,
Okay.
and it does not feel like a conclusion to a book. Most of these other books, if I'm remembering correctly, it's been far too long, and I've done a lot of drinking because of this series, is the books, though part of a series, feel like they have an individual ending. Some of them are weak, but they feel like they have an individual. We're 60 pages, not probably 40 pages from the end of this sucker, and we've got no conclusion at all. 50. 49, actually.
Okay.
We've got no real conclusion at all. We've got everything up in the air. We've got Sirius being dead. Do we get the funeral scene? We've got Hermione that's dead.
Okay.
Neville I really like from these chapters, but he's messed up. Ron is gone. But still, we have the world of Harry Potter essentially being unchanged.
Okay.
We have no ending. We have everything in the air, but the world of Harry Potter is still unchanged.
Okay.
Diddley-Dor is still at the school. Umbridge is gone, right? LaFudge is still in charge of things. Moldavort is around.
Okay. So we are going to clean up this book next week. We are going to end it with chapter 37, The Lost Prophecy. So we're going to talk a little bit about prophecies. And finally, chapter 38, The Second War Begins. So we are going to clean some things up. We are going to conclude Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. And we're going to hopefully answer a few questions here. And you got 2 books left to go. You are over the hill here.
I'm certainly over the hill.
Okay.
I am not looking forward to this.
All right. Well,
Are the last 2 books as big as these ones?
Oh, yeah.
Oh
yeah. Honestly, though, this book is, a lot of people a lot of people say that this is their favorite book.
This one?
And a lot of people say that the next 2 are in the favorites. So, the last 3 books are definitely the best in the series.
Well, JK, by 3,000 pages of fiction here, you better have become a better writer.
Well, you got to sell it a little bit first. You got to warm it up.
Yeah.
So if you like this kind of thing, make sure you hit subscribe down below. Give this video a like, and if you could be ever so kind, leave a question down in the comments for Adrian. We'll try to address that next week as we're finishing up Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Adrian? Nothing? Fair enough. They killed Sirius Black, man.
Huh?
They killed Sirius Black.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.